So today we have with us the very lovely Natasha Amelia Munzo. Natasha is just 20, and at such a tender age, she already has her goals sorted. She has a profound connection with nature. She runs a sustainable event service company by the name Eco Events by Amelia. Growing up in a military family, she has had the opportunity to travel all over the world. So welcome, Natasha. Welcome to our
Hi.
chat show. All right.
Thank you.
So, Natasha, tell us a little about yourself and how did you get into this field?
Yes, so like you said, my name is Natasha Muñoz, and I grew up in a military family. So I was fortunate enough to travel all over the world. You know, I got to see Europe, Asia, and some of America as well. So beginning to experience that at such a young age, I found more of like a connection with different environments and cultures and different lifestyles. So that made me want to, first of all, want to get into a business or an industry that made me, that was able to travel and also connect to people. So I've always been into design and art stuff, and I just feel like, as a fun person, everybody likes to throw parties. So I figured that event planning is something that I want to pursue in my career, because I'm also very organization oriented. So yeah, so that's how I began to start getting into events.
All right. So, how do you set your goals for improvement and make yourself more efficient as a sustainable business?
So, for example, for my business, I just started, so implementing a sustainability plan and connecting with other like-minded professionals that are starting sustainable businesses I feel like is one of the key things that makes me, I feel like more efficient in a way, because that way I can connect to others and see what works for other businesses as well and what I can implement in my own business. So, yeah.
All right.
So, are there any sustainable organizations that you need to partner with to offer your services, your sustainable services?
Yes. So, the thing is, the funny thing is, you don't need to become a sustainable business, but it is really helpful depending on what industry you're in. So, for example, if you're more of a nonprofit organization, it is good to partner with these organizations and these companies that are providing sustainable services or sustainable plans, so we can give back to our community and our environment as well. So it is not you don't need to, but it is very helpful for a business to partner.
Great.
Okay, that's good. Okay. So what is the hardest thing to change to be more sustainable business?
I believe it's mostly getting started, because a lot of people first they get interested in the idea, but getting started is what I feel like is the hardest part, because a lot of people, they start looking into either sustainable alternatives for their services or their products if they're offering products, but they either get scared because of the cost, or they get scared because they don't want to go further into that area or something. So I feel like getting started and also keeping up with it is one of the most difficult things, I would say.
Yes, we totally agree, because the first step, I believe, is the thing you need to, you have to have the guts, you have to have that kind of a mindset that you have to do it, or you want to do it. If you really want to do it, I think you will go ahead like you're doing already. That's right.
Exactly.
Okay. So,
what do you think is the best way to educate others on sustainable alternatives?
I believe the best way is mostly by learning from others' experiences and by talking to others, like how we're doing now, because sustainable and eco-friendly, the whole topic is very overwhelming in my opinion, because there's a lot of research and there's a lot of things that you need to take into consideration depending on either your resources or your environment. So I believe it's just learning from others and see what works and see what it is that you can implement into your own life, because let's say I I do something, and it probably will not work for somebody in India because I might not have the same resources as you, or the same connections, or the same people. So basically learning from others and learning from their experiences in terms of like low waste and things like that. So I believe
Yes,
that
that's
that
right.
is
Because
one of the
again,
most.
again, then we yes, again we talk about things, and we talk about the environment. How, what are you surrounded with? Like you said, the resources that we are actually looking for. If we have them here or not. If we don't have them, obviously we cannot implement that thing. But then yes, again, then we talk about things, and then we get to know more about the alternative things which are available, maybe to replace those things which you are talking about. Yes, so educating others by learning, learning from them and getting into that field, by learning about their culture, about their country, and then coming to a point where you can actually suggest something, I believe.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And like how you were mentioning real quick, the how it's good to learn from other people from even other places that you're not in, because like let's say they have different like services or companies that are sustainable in India that they don't even have in the United States or something. It is good to bring it up. It's good to introduce it to let's say to the United States or Puerto Rico where I'm at. So so all of these ideas and stuff, it just all comes down to speaking to others and learning from their experiences.
Yes, like you also told us in the when you are trying to partner with other sustainable services, basically. So yes, that's what it comes down to. If you're going to partner with others, you have to know what is going on in the other countries to actually partner with them, what you can provide or what we can provide for you.
Yes.
And sometimes you don't have when you speak to others, then you start getting more ideas.
True.
For example, in India, the government recently decided to reduce the use of plastic, and suddenly all the restaurants and hotels started thinking that what would happen, and where would they get the plastic cutlery, or what would be the alternatives they would find. And within 2-3 months, you had these bunch of manufacturers who were actually manufacturing plates and spoons using wood and leaves, and suddenly you started seeing them in market.
So yes, getting back to the basics, because I think the plastic is a new introduction. It was not there some 100 years, maybe it was there 100 years back, but it was not so much in use. People in India, we've seen, they eat on leaves, banana leaves in South India at least. So yes, so they eat on banana leaves. You have all these things which are natural basically and not harming the environment you're staying in. So yes, we will, that's what is going to be like. You get the ideas from here, that what we have here, and then you obviously you tell us, because you have got into the business, so you have already explored a lot of things to be able to communicate to others and be able to explain in better ways how things you are introducing are going to help everybody.
Exactly.
So okay, what has been the biggest challenge in your own life when it comes to becoming more eco-conscious?
Personally, I think it would be not like being so hard on myself, and like because it is kind of overwhelming, and I see these on the internet too. There's a lot of like either blogs or pages and groups and stuff that I'm a part of, but a lot of people, when they're going into like this low waste movement, they think that is like, oh, you need to change like all of your bad habits like immediately, like you need to cut out all the plastic.
You need to turn into a new leaf. That's right.
Exactly. So it's very difficult, because whenever you do something, and let's say like I'm going out with my family, and we eat out at a restaurant, and then they give you the plastic silverware, or the plastic the eatingware, and then like everything's disposable, and or we go to get some takeout, and then it's like I can't, like I wasn't the one that made the choice to go out, but I can't I can't be so hard on myself either, because then I don't learn from it. Can't people, when they're so hard on themselves, they tend to give up. So just learning, okay, maybe I can ask them, maybe I can ask the people who I'm eating with, just to keep that in mind. Maybe like, hey, bring your own bag, or if it's just one thing that you can eliminate, then just do that. But I believe personally, not being so hard on myself has been like the hardest thing, because sometimes I just want to be like, okay, I just want to live like in nature and just like not, consume any
That's
kind
true,
of
that's
waste
right.
I totally
or
agree,
produce.
because most of us love nature, and we want to do, keep it safe and prevent deterioration and all. But when it comes to changing our habits, which we have, gotten used to in the last so many years, it is really tough. I would be loving nature, but then when a plastic spoon would come in front of me, it's,
We wouldn't think twice.
I think
We'll be like, okay, just eat and let's just get over with it.
we just start
So-
thinking that just one spoon, or it's just one that's just one last straw that I'm using, and it wouldn't harm the environment much. But that collective, you know, collectiveness, all the straws, all the plastics, everything which is getting built up is really harmful for the environment now.
Yes, so like we talk about it, no? So what difference will it make if one person doesn't do it? But then yes, if everybody is thinking like that at that particular moment, you are done for it. Your effort for so long will just go for a waste for sure. But then yes, I agree with it. But not being so hard on yourself is also, I think it is a way of life. Otherwise, yes, as you said, that we tend to give up on things. If you're so hard on yourself, you're like, okay, one day you're like, okay, just we're done.
Actually,
We can't do it anymore.
all these plastic manufacturers and other manufacturers who are actually creating this non-biodegradable or non-eco-friendly stuff, their main selling point is the ease of use of these materials.
Yes.
How convenient it was to use, and we get so used to we get so we get so
Used to, and maybe more, it's more convenient actually. Because if I have to invite somebody over for dinner, I would be like, okay, let's just serve it in disposable stuff, because once it's done, I don't have to wash the dishes, or I don't have none of us have to do it. Neither of us have to do it. So yes, I think that's what we are heading towards, trying to avoid it. So yeah,
being eco-friendly is definitely you have
way tougher.
It's tougher.
No,
and
it makes sense.
have some convenience.
Yes. So I think the choice between convenience and what do you say?
Eco-friendly.
Being eco-friendly is very tough.
So Natasha, what is zero waste movement, and is it some global movement, or is it restricted to some countries, or
No, so zero waste movement, where I found it out was living here in the United States. So, but it's a global movement. It's a social global movement where people aim to eliminate most of their plastic waste, or just their waste in general. So there's people that go to the extreme, that go for a year and then they use like mason jars to collect all of their trash and waste from 1 year. So 1 year of waste is just like in one jar.
Wow.
Which I think is very impressive. Yes, which I think is very impressive, and it's very difficult. There's a lot of there's a lot of people that are starting to get on it, but when somebody's being introduced to low waste, I think to me personally, zero waste is very extreme. Just like there's like a lot of extremes. It is a very good goal, but when you're starting out, I feel like you should just in terms of like titles and stuff, you should like start out low waste, just not push yourself. Because when I first began, I was like, yes, I want to be zero waste. I can't do anything, like it can't produce any waste at all, like no plastic, no nothing. And then as I, was on, I kept growing in my journey, I was like, this is kind of difficult, like zero is a very zero waste. I don't know, like who produces zero waste, you know what I mean?
Yes,
So
zero waste is difficult. It's very difficult.
I think it's challenging, and to some people it would be giving them that excitement, that kick, that I have actually been able to I've been able to produce very little waste.
But at the same time, is it something which can be maintained? Can they do this throughout, or is it going to be something which they're going to give up easily on?
Well, for that I would say a few hundred years back, when our ancestors used to live, whatever the materials and all they were consuming, and the kind of food they were using, whatever the kind of clothes they were using, was all sustainable actually. So people have been actually living few hundred years back a kind of a zero waste life, and it's only in the last 100 years when all this plastic and other convenience stuff started coming in, you actually find it that people find it
It's
unimaginable
tempting.
to go back to that.
No, that's true. But that's what we are talking about. The convenience which has come to you, the convenience at the cost of the ecosystem being really, tampered with, or whatever you want to call it. That's what we are talking about, the convenience. It's
Yes.
very difficult to just hand over the convenience, just,
So probably
produce zero
it's
waste.
probably it's like a meditation. You are ready to sacrifice everything, and at the end of the day, you achieve. When you see that you produce such little waste, then you get that kind of a high or a
Yes, but
nirvana
that's
kind of a feeling.
nirvana kind of a feeling. That's right. But then again, that's what we are talking about. The hardest thing to give up. I think the hardest thing to give up, again, the same thing. It comes down to the same thing.
The
Yes,
convenience.
how
Yes.
good it is, good it is, but how are we going to maintain that kind of a thing? That balance, only time will tell, I guess.
No, I agree. And there's a lot of people that would say, I mean, people dedicate their lives to living zero waste. And there's people like, I guess regular people that, have a busy life, and they tend to I guess, from work, and they have, families and kids and this and that. It's very, like you're saying, it's like when you have a family and when you have this busy life, the convenience is what is, is easier. So, zero waste just itself, it's like I said, it's a social movement, which I think has a very impactful meaning to it, because when people follow it and people try to implement these practices into their life, eventually it will be better. But for now, just people start out low waste, and don't call it zero waste just yet, because until we get to that point in our society, it's not just one person in our society, then I would say that we can all just move into a lower waste environment.
To a large extent, it will also depend on the kind of people you are surrounded with. When you're trying to live a very sustainable life, and you have people around you who are creating that big amount of trash and waste. So probably
you're also then by the end of it, you just give up. Everybody's doing it, everybody's doing it around you. Why you are the one, you're the one who's really making all the effort, and that effort is not giving you results. You don't yield results because everybody else is not following anything in there, not contributing anything in there. So I guess that is what it is.
I think at the end of the day, living a sustainable life, that satisfaction is something that you give to yourself.
True.
Because unfortunately, sustainable living is not being appreciated by the governments, by the organization where you work. It's just for your own satisfaction.
See, that's what. So you do everything for your satisfaction, actually. But as you said it yourself, so who are you surrounded with? It matters.
Yes.
It does. So, for example, if like my son, when he was 1.5, so we needed diapers, dude. It was you needed them. So I'm not going to be just give it up. It was a convenient thing. I used them. So and half the world, no more than half the world, everybody, 99% of the mothers in the world would be using them for their children, because it is convenient. You have other stuff to do, and with that, if you have to give up even on those things, yes, because we've seen our mothers suffer. They say your life is more convenient for these things.
Go back 30-35 years, we grew up without diapers.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Yes, we did. Our mothers did survive, and they're happy. So we only convenience is actually.
That's what we are saying. That's what it is. It's just a convenient thing that we say, oh, it's more convenient, let's just do it. Going somewhere, oh, just let me.
Yes, and like how you were saying, it's kind of like a self-satisfaction thing. I think that's true too, because unfortunately, maybe we won't see change for maybe after our generation or something, but knowing that you're doing your part for the next generation, that's the whole meaning of sustainability, is so you can leave the world better, from where how you came into it, basically. So it is like a kind of self thing. It's like, okay, I'm doing my part, but it is very frustrating as well when those around you, because I know I have people around me that are they're like, okay, just take this straw, just do this. I'm like, no, I can't. Person, you have those morals, and you have those like you said, like I said, you're conscious and stuff. So it's very difficult to give into those things. So don't give into the peer pressure. But it is very difficult.
That's a good advice.
Okay, so tell us what inspires you to act sustainably.
So like I mentioned before, I did travel a lot at a young age. And so growing up in different environments and different cultures and everything kind of made me appreciate it more. So when I came into the age where after I was in college, sorry, it's a little bit chilly in here, but I got into environmentalism because I used to be in a student organization where we did most of our volunteer work, and we did like roadside cleanups and everything, and I got more exposed to like what is sustainability. So when I gave back to my community a lot more, I felt like this appreciation where I was like, okay, like I like doing this. I like giving back to the community. I like cleaning up, like trash, even though, cleaning up trash isn't fun, but like it makes me feel good, because I know that I'm giving back to like I said, giving back to the community, doing my part, and that may inspire somebody that didn't know what it was or didn't even think about, doing these kinds of things. So yeah, just I guess my appreciation for different cultures and just the world in general. I'm just very I like being outside, and I like hiking, and I do like all the outdoor stuff. So and seeing these places that like in Europe, I feel like it's a little bit more greener than when I came to the United States. Their lifestyle is way different. So coming to the United States was like a culture shock for me. So I came there and I was like, whoa, like some of these things, like I don't like I don't like some of the systems and stuff that they have in place. But I mean, it's okay. So I just learned to, wherever I'm at, I adapt, and I just try to do my part as much as I can.
Great. Okay. So.
And what is the best advice you would give somebody, who's trying to be more sustainable?
I would say start small, because like the simplest things can make a difference. So like for example, when I started, it was bringing a water bottle everywhere I went. It's you're thirsty, and then you buy a water bottle somewhere, and then you throw it out, and then you don't think about it, and then you're thirsty again. Let's say you're out all day. So bringing your own water bottle for once, that would be a good change to start with. Bring your plastic bag. Replacing your plastic bags, grocery bags, with reusable bags that you have yourself. You don't need to go to the store. And, I go to the store all the time, and sometimes my mom's like, you're going to carry that all by hand? Like, if I forget my bags, I'm like, I'm not getting a bag. I'm just going to carry it all. So sometimes I just walk out the grocery store, like, with everything, like, just because they're all, wrapped in plastic packaging anyway. So just at least trying your best to reduce as much as possible, but like by starting small, so you don't overwhelm yourself. So like I said, so like your water bottle, bring the reusable bags, say no to like plastic takeout and all those things. Just start small, but like I said, don't overwhelm yourself, because it will, in the end, like you'll be thinking of so many things that you would want to do, and then you won't do any of them because you're like, where do I even start? So and it also begins with your mindset, like that kind of mindset you come in with, like this journey, then that's the mindset that you need to like start developing, because sorry, I don't know where I was going with that. You can cut that part out.
No, that's all
So
right. Okay.
when you mentioned that, you were into sports and you loved being outdoors, so that actually reminded me there are a lot of people in India who are promoting sustainability in a very cool way. They do something what they call as plogging, where they actually go for the group. A lot of sports enthusiasts, they go out for a run, and during that run they actually collect the trash, or they go and run and visit places, and then during that run they stop in the middle and educate people. So a lot of plogging events have started coming up, and people actually participating in these events. The young generation have find it cool. So probably if you could link the word cool with the sustainability, then I think the younger generation
would get even more
inspired.
Yeah, and I feel like how you said, like linking the word cool, I feel like now a lot of things, like even sustainability, I see it as coming as a little bit of a trend. You know, things want, like, companies want to be green, companies want to be, you know, this, but you also have to educate yourself, because a lot of there's this term greenwashing, whereas like companies, you know, they market themselves as green, or like as natural or organic and all of this stuff, but when in reality none of their things are sourced sustainably, or maybe they don't really
They don't understand
implement
the
these
essence.
sustainable practices. Mm-hmm.
The essence
Yes,
behind
so
it. They're just going for the words, you know. Right?
They
That's
try
what-
to actually misguide people, and since people don't dive deep into the, you know, actual thought process of the process of the company, they kind of end up believing the company, whatever they are
Yes.
saying.
And by the end of it,
Yeah.
you've invested so much of your time and money into it. I think they just go with it. They're like, okay, to hell with whatever, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's more of marketing. So they say these things because, you know, just to get those people that are interested in that, like, oh, this is green, this is sustainable, this and that. But then when you actually research, that's why, like I said earlier, it's just mostly about research and finding out, you know, about that company or that organization that you're working with, because a lot of people can, like, trick you, and, you know, a lot of people can be like, oh, I'm doing this green, this sustainably, when in reality they're really not, and they're not giving back either to the community, or they're not practicing it themselves. So it's about, like I said, educating yourself and that mindset, and keeping that mindset.
Yeah. Okay. So, what are some goals that you could share that have helped you keep a good mindset? Like we've been talking about mindset. So, yes. What do you have to say there?
I would say, okay, some of my goals were, what I like I'm an organizer, so I like to write things down. So keeping track of the things that I have switched throughout my day. So like small switches, like, for example, that day I remembered to bring my bag to the store. I like to write it down to keep track of what it is that I do and what it is that I remember doing, and then just keep doing that, because like how I said earlier, you don't have to do everything, you know, just if you're doing something, then that's good enough. Like, you know, if you're doing one thing, that's good enough. So you know, keeping track of your progress, you know, keep sharing your progress as well, because even though, like, you're not perfect, but, you know, you can inspire somebody to be like, oh, like, that's cool, like what they're doing, you know, I want to do that. They want to learn more, and then that way you spread the message, that way you teach others, you know, and then you all grow together. So yeah, keeping track of your progress and just sharing it with others.
Yes, and I believe when you share it and if others appreciate, then it becomes even better. You know, you are able to sort of, you get inspired to do even, you know, go further ahead with your goals, and maybe make them even tougher at some time. And since people
Yes.
appreciate it, they understand. Yes, you would like to even you would like to go ahead with your goals, basically. Otherwise, I think if it's like, if people around you are just going to say the negative things, no, it's not going to work out or whatever, you know, those things really hamper your mindset, and then you also start thinking about along those lines, I believe. So yes, I think everything matters. People.
Yes, and I wanted to add real quick that I did recently develop a guidebook. Like I'm calling it the Eco Mindset Guidebook. So it's kind of, you know, like how we were talking about when people if people are interested in learning how to, you know, get into this mindset, then I developed like a few different like interactive worksheets that they can do to like write down their goals. They're just, you know, it's an ebook, so they can purchase it, and then they can it's short, but it'll really has some resources and just tips for you to get started on your journey, because like I said, I believe like the mindset is the most important thing that you need to keep throughout your sustainability journey, because if somebody like I said earlier, you need to, you know, not give into the peer pressure. So if somebody like talks to you in one ear, you need to be able to stop that and be like, hey, can't do that because this is what I believe in and this is what I want to do. So yeah, so like I said, I did develop that, so if you are interested in getting one,
send us the link.
Yeah, so we will definitely see the link, and we'll definitely put it in the description in a video, so that others can also have a look at it and benefit from your views and your experience. And
Definitely. Thank you.
thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
your time,
much.
Natasha. We really appreciate it.
And
I
we
really
had a lot.
appreciate you guys. Thank you for
Uh,
this
we-
opportunity.
we loved everything about it. It's really crisp. Everybody should be able to understand what you're trying to do and how you're trying to help others to become more aware, since it is about educating people first and then taking a step ahead. So
And
yes.
eco is the new eco events is a new concept, I think, and it's not something which a lot of companies have thought of about till now.
Yes,
And I think probably by seeing this video, they would actually, some of them should get inspired.
because
And
we do have big fat Indian weddings though.
yeah,
If you've seen any in on the YouTube or any videos, have you ever seen any Indian wedding or something?
A what? I'm sorry?
Indian wedding.
I haven't. No.
Right.
okay.
Okay.
So yeah, so generally such events in India, they are not at all eco friendly. But yes,
Oh no, I can understand that.
but events can be done in an eco friendly way. I think that would, I think by seeing this video,
Yes, everybody
people
be
would
able to
actually
understand.
start thinking on
Thinking
those
about
lines.
it.
Yes, and that will actually help our purpose of
And yeah, until we can like I said earlier, be like a society that's like low waste, just setting one goal and just knowing that you're doing your part at least, then that's good enough, because like not a lot of people are doing it. So by you doing it and sharing it, you're inspiring others to do it, and then we all do it together, so it's just little by little, starting small. So
Yes, starting small,
I
step
think,
by step.
I
Yes.
think now it's time. Now it's high time that we start running instead of walking, because with 9 million metric tons of plastic going into the oceans every year, I think we have done enough damage now, and
To reverse it.
instead of individual steps, we'll all have to start taking bigger steps and take bigger actions as individuals, as organizations, as governments, so that
yes.
and to some extent reduce our whatever the harm which we have done to the environment.
Yes.
Yes, starting small, but yes,
Yes.
at a massive scale.
Yes. So thank you so much, Natasha. We truly
Okay,
appreciate
thank you guys so
your time,
much.
and we loved
Thank
having
you, and
you.
happy Mother's Day.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much.
You guys have
Bye.
a
Take
great
care.
day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.